Aloha, everybody, and welcome to Unity of the Seacoast. I'm Faith Rivera, and I welcome you into this beautiful service. I ask you to take a deep breath in as we begin to rise together. I close my eyes, I open my heart, I take a deep breath, let the healing start. I lift my hands, I plant my feet, I let love in. I feel the beat that's calling, calling, calling us to rise, rise, Spirit, rise up, rise in me. I ready my soul, I clear my mind. I'm here and now, in present time. I feel the power of 1,000 suns, lighted up the dark. Oh, we rise as one. Oh, rise, rise, sing with me. Spirit, rise up, rise in me. Oh, rise, rise, Spirit, rise up, rise in me, rise in me. I sing to you, I sing to you. You sing to me, you sing to me. Change up this noise, make sweet harmony. Come on and rise, oh rise, Spirit, rise up, rise in me. Oh, rise, yes, rise, Spirit, rise up, rise in me, rise in me. Heart to heart, heart to heart, hand in hand, hand in hand, no turning back, onward to promised land. Do you feel the power of 1,000 suns, lighting up the dark? Oh, we rise as one. Love's calling, calling out your name. Love's calling, it's why we came. Love's calling, calling out your name. Love's calling, it's why we came. Come on and rise, oh rise, Spirit, rise up, rise in me. Oh, rise, yes, rise, oh Spirit, rise up, rise in me. Rise up, yeah. You can sing with me, rise up, rise up, rise up, yes. Keep singing, rise up. Come on in, come on, lift your hands up, jump, reach for the sky, going up high, higher, yeah. Come on, raise your voice and shout. Love is alive, we're bringing the light brighter, brighter. Come on, lift your hands up, jump, reach for the sky, going up high.
Malaho, thank you so much.
You're
Um,
welcome.
Faith, it's so good to have you here again. I had the pleasure of seeing you in person, and there are no words to describe just the open heart and pure energy that you project when you're in a show.
Oh,
It's
thank
wonderful.
you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Reliving it through your music now, and I can feel everybody in Venice, Florida, standing up and singing with you and clapping, and it was a wonderful show.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you
So
so
good to have
much.
you back. And I know you are a multi-talented woman. I know that you write music and you compose and do the lyrics and perform and record. I know
Yes.
you're a mama,
I am a mama.
two beautiful little children. And what do I not know about you?
Um,
Um,
then I'm a big dancer wannabe.
oh,
And it was my birthday this April, and I'm just I love what Rev Tom was saying to me, going mortal. I love that because I think it's a time to be physical, to connect spirituality with physicality. So I'm in hula classes, I'm doing Nia dance
oh,
classes, and I was learning kizumba and these bachata, things I never even heard of. So I'm learning to enjoy more, this body and to move it. So that may be something you don't know is I'm a big like dancer
oh, I
wannabe.
love that. All right, and our dream will be that you come in person to Unity of the
Yes.
Seacoast and we have a big sing and dance party.
Yes, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Good.
Thank you again for having me.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you for
Aloha.
being here so much.
Thank you.
So, good morning. I'm Lynn Richard from Unity of the Seacoast. I think most of you know me. Um, and I am so happy to welcome you here today. Very excited that Faith is here. She's just such a wonderful spirit. Everything around her just glows. It's just so nice to have her presence here. So I welcome you all, whether you're a first time viewer or someone who's been with us for quite a while. I've been with Unity of the Seacoast since 2003 and can't imagine being anywhere else. One practice that we have here, and soon we'll be in person to do it, which is really fun, is we have a daily word. It's a little booklet that you can buy online through Unity. And it's just a wonderful way to start your day. It sets my intention for the day. So, with all that chaos going on around us, we can keep this intention in mind. And today's word, Sunday, May 1st, is joy. I carry joy in my heart. That's our affirmation. Keep reminding yourself, I carry joy in my heart. My many happy experiences and memories may lead me to feel joyful, but I know they're not the source of my joy. One of my divine gifts, joy, is part of my spiritual identity, as close to me as my next breath. Joy wells up and spills over within me when I bring my awareness to my spiritual nature and to my oneness with all good and all life. It's an attitude that I hold in mind and a feeling in my heart. The happiness I feel in life depends on my allowing my inner wellspring of joy to come forth. I nurture my joy by maintaining a regular prayer practice that enhances my awareness of God and by making time for the things that make me happiest. I go into the world grateful for the joy that resides within me, my gift to share generously. Our scripture for today is Isaiah 55:12. You shall go out in joy and be led back in peace. And again, the affirmation with this word is I carry joy in my heart. You do. And you just need to find things that make you happy to feel that joy. And when you feel that joy, like we saw in Faith, it just it's like a skipping a stone on a pond. It ripples and ripples to everyone around you. Joy. Let's carry that with us today. We have a mission statement here at Unity of the Seacoast that we recrafted a couple of years ago, and it's something that means a lot to us. and we can read it together. It's scrolling. We are a loving, nurturing community dedicated to being a positive path to spiritual living to awaken oneness with God within us all. And again, it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We can say it again together. We are a loving, nurturing community dedicated to being a positive path to spiritual living to awaken oneness with God within us all. That means a lot to us. That's what we really try to do. And soon we'll be meeting a person and you'll be able to feel that. So for announcements, I guess that is our announcement, is that we're very excited. Tomorrow, Reverend Tom and George are going to be able to get into our new space, and they'll begin preparing the space for us. There's a lot of work going on at the McConnell Center to get us ready and up and rolling. Our board is working very hard on getting us the equipment and the services we need to go live. And it's looking like by June, and that's only weeks away, that we will be there at the McConnell Center, greeting you and entertaining you and loving you and feeding you, of course. Unity always comes with food, good food. So we're really looking forward to that. We're going to be in suite, I believe it's 245, right across from the gym. If you know the McConnell Center at all, we're over on I think it's St. Thomas Street side. It's a lovely space, bright windows. It's going to be wonderful. So tomorrow night will be Charlie's first Monday meditation in May. It is going to be a meditation for prosperity. Might be something you would be interested in. And if you haven't already seen it, you can go on Facebook and see the event. To participate, you would go at 7 p.m. or a little before, I guess. Go to Facebook, Unity of Seacoast page, and you will see the event there, and it will go live, and you just can meditate with us. It's really nice. They're also archived, so if there's a meditation that you're looking for on prosperity or relaxing, or there's a full body meditation, whatever it might be, they are archived, so you can go back and do those meditations again. We will be starting our walkabouts again. Last year that was quite successful. We are trying to set a schedule where we have people available to lead it. It looks like it will be starting in May. Again, you'll be able to find that on our webpage and on Facebook when we have an official date, and it should be up there very soon. We hope you will join us. It's Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock. One of the fun things, it's a different place every week. So we get to sort of travel around to everybody's hometown and explore new places and be together. It really is a form of fellowship. It's walking and it's good. It's exercise. It's outdoors, but it's fellowship. It's getting to talk to people again, give them a hug, whatever we need at the time. And we do need to get together again. We need to be together. So other than that, I think for right now, those are the announcements. If there's anything else, we can post it, I guess, on the webpage or Facebook. Another practice we have that means so much to me, and it's very comforting because I've been in Unity churches pretty much around the states, and this is sort of something that everybody does. Some people get up and walk around, some people stay in their seats, whatever it is, but it's called Namaste. Those of you who've been watching know what that is. And so it's a Sanskrit word that really means the Christ in me, the divine in me, sees, recognizes, and honors the Christ in you, the divine in you. We put our hands in prayer position. We look directly into the eyes of the person that we're greeting, and we say, Namaste. And I do see the Christ in you and honor the Christ in you. So there really isn't any special introduction. You've already heard her, and she's been here before. Really just pay attention and feel this woman.
Thank you, Lynn. This song means so much to me. It's Holy Now by Peter Mayer. And it really became the song that, oh, what can I say? I felt everything that she was just speaking about, feeling that divine presence in everything and everyone, even those things I thought maybe were not so holy, like my Catholic upbringing. I now love and honor all of it. So enjoy this song, Holy Now. When I was a girl each week, Sunday we would go to church, pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word, consecrate the holy bread. Everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Oh yeah, everything. When I was in Sunday school, we will learn about the time Moses split the sea in two. Jesus made the water wine. I remember feeling sad that miracles don't happen still. But now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Yeah, everything's a miracle. Yeah, everything. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, I barely wet my fingertips. But now I have to hold my breath, 'cause I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half-fair, heaven sunk and rain had me down. But now I'm walking with a reverence, hell yeah, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Yes, everything is holy now. Hey, yeah, yeah. Everything. Read a questioning child's face. See, it's not a testament. That'd be very hard to say. See, another new morning come. See, it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. This morning I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird, shaking like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. It made me wanna bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. 'Cause everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. Yes, everything is holy now. Yes, everything, every little thing, everything is holy now. Yes, everything is holy now. Every little thing is holy now. Oh, it's holy now. you. Thank you.
So touching. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Um, I didn't even know what song you were doing, honestly, but when I said just feel it, wow,
Well,
that's a
these
heart
songs,
opener.
they were
Thank
they
you.
were hand chosen by your brilliant Rev. So kudos to him. Thank you
It was
again.
wonderful. Thank you so much. Speaking of our brilliant Rev, Reverend Tom, who's my church husband. That's a joke we have because we do so much together. And fortunately, his wife Casey, my husband Charlie, understands, and they don't get upset about that. Um, he has just been amazing over this period of time. We were talking today about how suddenly we went virtual and we all had to learn how to do so many different things. And he's just a soldier. He just forges on and learns more new things. And as it changes, he'll learn something else. And he's if he's not rebuilding a car, he's building a deck, or he's a maker. He's a maker. Um, it's interesting the connections between how he lives his life and how our way shower lived his life. I don't think it's coincidence, but I do honor him. I do see the Christ in him, and I'm so happy to have him here today. We both believe very much in prayer. Our thoughts are prayers. We pray all of the time. He will myrtle things to health. Myrtle was one who prayed herself back to health, and Tom actually does this. So anyway, it's with love and pleasure that I introduce Reverend Tom Scheinler.
Lynn, thank you. Thank you so much. Faith, thank you. Um, I'm just so honored to get to share this space with both of you. The boundless love just comes to me. And
I'm just mirroring all the aloha you guys got going on there on the East Coast. It's amazing. I mean, I can be so thankful for this pandemic for, connection like this with all of you. So it's so
Truly.
much richness.
it's quite amazing that if you think 30 years ago, this would be a miracle, what we're doing now.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And it's everyday practice.
You're right. You're right. It is. But isn't this the spiritual picturing, right, of all the things that you teach and we believe about this oneness, something about the pandemic and the technology merged so we can have this experience. So I am just so grateful. I feel your aloha. And last time you got me with your talk, so I'm preparing myself with some Kleenex. But it's an honor for me too. It's an honor for me. Thank you.
Thanks. Hopefully, I'm getting it better. I love every part of this. I love the pastoral care, but I love to talk and then find out what comes out of me. I work to prepare it, but it never comes out the same.
Oh, exciting.
But again, thank you both.
Welcome. Thank you.
So good morning, everyone. I'm starting a couple weeks. I want to focus on prayer. It's something that we do, and I just hope that when we do it, it's something that we take personal. And for me, there's a joy in prayer, which is why I'm so thankful that the daily word for today is joy. So as we begin, I would just like each one of you to take in a deep smiling breath. Remember the smile. And let it exhale at your own comfortable pace. And as we do this, feel your body just settle into where you are. Feel your feet make contact with the floor. And let all that energy that's bound up in you, that comes across as tense or negative or stress, let that drop through you. And I want you to take a moment to think of just a personal joy in your life. Maybe you made something. Maybe just seeing the daffodils pop up this time of year, the azaleas beginning to bloom, the smell of the salt water coming off the ocean, holding someone's hand. My personal is always holding Casey's hand. Got to drive down, see my daughter yesterday on the Cape. So maybe it's a hug from someone that you love. Petting an animal. Helping another. We each get moments of personal joy. It's important that we live in these moments. It's these moments that make up our life. As you come back to me, open your eyes and kind of roll out your shoulders. I'm going to cover a lot of verses from the Bible today, and they have a reason. It's generally more verses than I would normally do. So I invite you to just be patient and come along for the ride. Matthew chapter 6, verses 5 through 7. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in synagogues or in the corners of the streets, for they may be seen of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, when prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut the door, pray to thy Father, which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathens do, for they think that they shall be heard for much of their speaking. I think of these lines from Matthew when I see a group of people reciting the Lord's Prayer in unison. Because the idea of prayer, at least to me, is a personal conversation with God, God within. A prayer is a form of meditation. God is within, and it's going within that we communicate with God. As a child, I would pray. I remember in church kneeling after communion, and my prayer went something like this. First, I would peek around to see if others were praying. Then I would peek around to see if others were watching me pray. And then I would go down my list of prayers and who I was praying for. God bless mommy, daddy, my brothers, my sisters, and so forth. And then I would always ask God to let each one live to be at least 90 years old. My grandparents lived to be 90, so I thought that was the benchmark. And although they were loving prayers, I never felt comfortable praying in church because it felt forced. I always felt I was left with not knowing if my prayers would be answered. I was pleading instead of praying. This type of prayer left it up to God to decide my good favor. It didn't make sense. I've heard people talk about praying like this as like praying to Santa. And I don't like that terminology, but it's sort of accurate. Dear God, if you find I've been good, then please answer my prayers. But prayer is an active conversation with all. And the Lord's Prayer, that's the groundwork for accepting this into your life. If you're in active prayer, it manifests in these things. And our life is an interaction with all that is and all that reacts back to us. So treat it with reverence. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. That's the Lord's Prayer that Jesus spoke of. Now in John chapter 10, verse 30, he says, I and the Father are one. Luke 17:21, he says, the kingdom of God is within your midst, or among you, or within, depending on your version of the Bible. I like within you. Mark 12:38, he says, beware the scribes which love to go in long clothing and love salutation. And it continues through 12:40 when he speaks of those who make public lengthy prayers, that they shall receive damnation. Jesus is giving instructions on how to pray. He's telling us to make it quiet. He's telling us the kingdom of heaven is within us. He's describing prayerful meditation. Often people think of meditation as this new age spiritual thing. It is spiritual, however, it's not new age. The Bible has many examples of Jesus going into the silence to pray. Mark 1:35, very early morning while it was dark, Jesus got up, he left the house and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. He prayed alone at Gethsemane. He prayed alone before Gethsemane. He's telling us to go within, go to that dark, quiet place where we meet with God, and God will cast light upon that place. It's a place of divine consciousness. God knows our prayers because our prayers are within, and that's where we connect. We just need the silence to sort them out. The deepest part of meditation is called the silence. This is what Jesus is talking about. He speaks, when he speaks to the priests, he's not talking about them being bad. He's saying that perhaps they don't get it. Damnation is a harsh term. But he's saying is that they will be rewarded with nothing for their boastful prayers. Because the prayers are not personal, they're generic, they're made for the ears of all. You know, Jesus speaks to crowds. He blesses the bread, but when he prays deeply, he goes to that silent place, and he's telling us to do the same. And the Lord's Prayer is deeply personal. And he tells us how to do it. I always find it so strange that churches have people recite this prayer in the most impersonal way, yet the lines preceding the Lord's Prayer are instructions not to do so. And I don't want to take anyone's idea of how to pray away from them, but I hope what you take from my talk today is that the Lord's Prayer is personal to you. And in this, I use the term Our Father. So don't take offense to gentrification. You use whatever term fits, Father, Mother, Source, etc. I'm using the words that are presented to me in this prayer. And if that offends you, please judge me on the body of all my talks. I'm very non-genderific in that sort of sense. It may have just made a new word, genderific. Anyway, the Lord's Prayer, it begins with Our Father. 2 words, perhaps the most powerful lines in the Bible. It's not my Father, it's our Father. Remember, Jesus was saying that he and us are one. We are one and the same. He's not qualifying Father. It's not his Father, not our Jewish Father, not our Black Father, our white Father, our Asian Father, or anything. It is our Father, and we are the same. We are included in that. The Father of all, the Father of humanity, humankind, and we are the only begotten child of that. I found so much hope in those two words. We are the only creatures, creations of God, to be given the power to co-create our lives. That is how I know we're the only begotten child. And then you add, who art in heaven. Where is heaven? Again, according to Jesus, the kingdom of heaven is within. So where is God? I and the Father are one. If God is our Father and we are one, and we go inside to connect. I know this concept of God, Jesus, and I are one. For some people, it's difficult. May sound offending. But think of it like this. God is omnipresent everywhere in everything at all times. There is always a place within us that connects. That's the place where love connects. God's love to ours. It's within. I connect with the love within. The love that's within me then emanates outward. It's within all of us. This prayer, this part of the prayer is well-worded instructions of love. Our Father. So comforting. We go to that silent place where God in heaven is, and we join in that. Hallowed be thy name. Thy name puts reverence to God. There's a sense that when you name something that you can limit it. Jesus wants us to know that God is more than something that can be defined. Take a rose. You see it, it is beautiful, but it's not beauty. A rose is describable. Beauty is not. Describe beauty to a man with no sight. His concept of beauty is different. And it's the same with God. Each of our concept of God is different. We can try to explain, but how do you explain God's nature? The closer I get to God, the more I understand that I can't explain it. I can only recognize that it is. Hallowed is reverence to its perfection. God's nature is perfection always. So hallowed be thy name is to pray with veneration. Recognize the perfection that is in all and in our prayer. Treat the prayer with perfect loving grace. Hallowed to all that is God. And when you give reverence to God's perfection and all, then you understand and you can take it to heart your own perfection. You understand that you are a perfect being of God. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Your kingdom, your will, God's specific will. Well, if it was God's specific will, then perhaps we would all have the same task or produce the same results. Thy kingdom is everything in all that is and all that will be. And as we move through life, thy will be done. This is where it gets personal. We're praying for insight into our hand in thy kingdom, our hand in all, our meaning. So we are personalized expressions of God. We know somewhere within us is that connection to that which defines us within the kingdom. Our unique fitting into all that is it, all that is. Many realize their purpose clearly, many do not. But for most of us, it's ever evolving and changing. But we all have those thoughts of what makes us happy, the things that fulfill us, the things that you desire out of life. And we also have those parts of us that we know are our gifts to the world. That part of the prayer is seeking clarity on your hand in the kingdom. Thy will doesn't have to be your job. It can be anything in any given moment. It's recognizing these moments, accepting these moments. When you start to understand these moments, you start to realize your specific God's plan is your own, because God's kingdom has many paths that you can take. It is you adding your personal meaning to the path that you choose. The dots are there and you get to connect them into what becomes your picture. I remember reading about a young man named Jamero. Him and his two friends were eating at a restaurant in Alabama, and they noticed an elderly lady. She was eating alone, and Jamero thought about how much he did not like eating alone. So he walked over and invited her to join him. Turned out the lady was having a very tough day, and these men lifted her. She had just recently lost her husband, and this was their 60th anniversary. Thy will in that moment was done. Ever meet a person who just makes you smile? They may not know it, but they are doing their personal expression of thy will. Thy will can be anything and everything. Go inside and open your mind to it. Communicate with God in the silence. And that begins the path to true happiness on earth as it is in heaven. You've heard that saying that all things are created twice, once in spirit and once in the physical. That's manifesting. This is working with heaven, the God connection within you to bring what you desire, your ideas, to bring it into the physical, to bring to realization the best you. Things are ideas before they are manifested. Divine ideas arise in that place of heaven within us. And then we get to present them in its earthly form. This is part of being given dominion over the earth and its creatures. Our dominion is our personalized expression to the benefit and the welfare of others, our planet, and of ourselves. And give us this day our daily bread. God is in everything, in all things, at all times. Again, we are personalized expressions of God. So why would God not want us to have all? We have to affirm it. We have to accept it. Jesus is not merely talking about food. He is in part, because we all need food, but we need more than that. We need air. We need our inspiration. We need love and wisdom. We need all the things that allow us to do God's will. We need all the things that allow us to be us, to raise each other. Our daily bread is having the abundance of all of mental, spiritual, and emotional sustenance. It's having the strength to remember the line for the school player, being able to play that song, to have the skill to hold a paintbrush, to have the awareness to help someone in need. Maybe it's to have the courage to face the day, to be brave in the face of our fears, to have the ability to recognize our path, to have faith in the next step, even when you cannot see it, to know that the darkness will lighten up, and to recognize that God is the source and that all is provided on our path. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Forgiveness. This is when it really gets personal. Close your eyes for a second and think of something that you need or have needed forgiveness for. Now think of something that's been done to you. Each one of us can jump to at least one. You can open your eyes again. But this part of the prayer has many levels. When you needed forgiveness, was it given? And do you offer the same to others? Where does forgiveness come from? Is there an omnipresent being deciding whether to forgive or not? It comes from within you. Forgive yourself. Forgive in the way that you would forgive others. Forgive as or while you forgive yourself. Drop the burden of recrimination. There's that saying, holding anger toward others is the same of offering them poison, but you are feeling the results. This type of forgiveness is letting go simultaneously of your hate or anger or displeasure towards yourself and towards others. Forgiveness does not and never means forgetting. Those are two different concepts. But why carry the burden? If you cannot forgive yourself, you lock yourself into that moment of anger. I could not understand why my father was the way he was to me. He was not abusive in the traditional sense, but he left scars because I just did not matter to him. I did not matter enough for him to want to participate in my life. And I was left figuring my life out from the age of 12. And I turned it into self-loathing and depression, and I carried that with me. My minister years ago, Diane Robinson, she was the one that told me that poison line about holding on to poison. And she told me to go forgive my father. So I drove to New Jersey, and I sat at his grave in the rain. And at first I sat in silence. And then the words came to me, the insight came. I realized I knew little about what he carried inside himself and what things impacted him. Had he been happy? Was he taught what it meant to be a father? Was he making it up as he went? I knew nothing about the man, but I knew I could not carry that pain anymore. Perhaps he gave me all that he could. Perhaps he didn't like me, but that was not mine to carry anymore. I do not know what each of you have gone through, the things that you've done or the things that have been done to you. Only you know. But I know that you have to learn not to carry that burden anymore. You have to find a way to forgive. That's what he's talking about. Forgiveness. The forgiveness that you're denying yourself for the pain or the self-loathing. Understand, you are forgiven. Others may need to see a track record. From this moment forward, you are forgiven. You must choose to accept this. Change can happen in a God second. But forgive yourself. Stop doing the things that you need forgiveness for, including in that the negative and untruthful things that you tell about yourself. Remember, forgiveness without recrimination. As I mentioned, we are all part of God. I and the Father are one. God does not want us to be unhappy. That is part of thy will. Perhaps that should be the first part. If the things that you tell yourself lead away from happiness, then understand it is a lie. It's not God, and it's not your destiny. Each time you tell yourself something that leads away from happiness, recognize that it's a lie and forgive yourself and understand that you are love. God is love. Our Father, I and the Father are one. Therefore, I am love. I am loved. I know that's biblical math, but I really want you to understand this. God is love. Our Father, I and the Father are one. Then I am love. I am loved. Can you make that connection? Do you see that you are love and loved? Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Temptation on the surface is doing those things that lead us from our better self. Perhaps it's some sort of payoff that we seek. Jesus faced temptations at the beginning of his ministry. He pushed himself to the extremes. He fasted. He walked the desert. He pushed his body to the neediest and most vulnerable state that it could be in. Perhaps to understand his own inner strength, to understand and know his connection to the Christ, to understand God within. So in his example, we can find power. So we can reflect when we get tempted. When we often think we know about things that tempt us, and we do our best to stand clear, but let's look at it in reverse. Deliver us from evil. Evil is scary. It's the absence of good. But evil is us moving away from our best nature. Evil is generally associated with grand things, violent, foul language, whatever. We all know our perception of evil is apathy. But what about ego? Separating yourselves from others, holier than thou. People pray and pray, or they study, and they set themselves up to find reasons to set themselves apart from others, like what they know is right for others. We all have subtle ways of raising ourselves above others. We all have ways of lusting after things. And I'm not talking about personal feelings or with another. I'm talking about a perverse sense of happiness, something that brings you joy at the expense of your better self and often at the expense of others. I don't need to break it down. We all know we all have these versions of our best nature. And when we stray from it, we all have similar commonalities. But the idea of this part of the prayer is to recognize those things that lead us from temptation and to help us find the ability to find our way back to our best nature. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Now, there's talk about whether this was in the original text. Did Jesus say it or did he not? It's different from the rest of the prayer. It's not a real prayer. It's what's called a doxology, or another word is a glorifying statement. And it's been traced to various times, almost at the time when it went from the Bible was translated from Aramaic to Greece. Aramaic to Greece. But whatever the reason, it shows up enough to give it validity. And for that reason, I'm not going to discount it. In fact, I like it because it's a great exclamation point at the end of a very powerful prayer. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. It can be added at the end of any phrase in this prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Give us this day our daily bread, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. It's just a powerful affirmation. So I offer you this version or view of this prayer so you can find your personal prayer in it. I think that's the intent of Jesus telling us to pray like this. He's not really trying to get us to do it word for word, but to personalize, our Father, our connection to all who art in heaven, honor the heaven within us. Hallowed be thy name. To not take this prayer or God without veneration. Thy kingdom come. All of God's kingdom within us and all that we know. Thy will be done. The will of each personalized expression of God, God through us, on earth as it is in heaven, from divine idea to divine expression, to all that we know that's within till it manifests outward. Give us this day our daily bread. Provide us the things that fulfill us. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Unburden us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Open us up to our best self. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. I'd like to take a moment to think of others in your life and to pray for them, those known and not known. If you're comfortable, write their name in the comment box. If you're not comfortable doing that, then just their initials or maybe a heart or prayer emoji. But we offer this to our friends and family and loved ones and to the whole world. We see you whole, healthy, strong, wise. We see you bathed in love and wisdom. Love and wisdom, which we know is the true image of God. I'd like to turn this to another prayer. We do this every week, the prayer of affirmations and tithings. If you can place your right hand over your heart and repeat after me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen. I will close this out with the prayer protection, and then we'll hear another song from the wonderful Faith Rivera. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well. I always say the light of God surrounds you because I want that to go out to you until we are together. Then we can say the light of God surrounds us. And that's coming up, folks. Beginning of June, we will have our first together services, and I am looking so forward to that. Lynn and Faith, I want to thank you both so much. And I think we have one more song coming for you, and then we will end the service.
Yes, we do. Okay. Thank you, Rev Tom, for taking me and all of us deeper with that prayer that I grew up saying over and over, right, in Catholic Church. It's amazing to take the time to really break down every prayer, every word and phrase. And I love what you said, to personalize it, because so much of our growing up, it was just like automatic. You're just like spitting words out.
Yeah.
And words have power. So thank you for that deep insight. Yes. And I'm excited for all of you that you'll be meeting together soon in June. And so, as requested by Rev Tom, I guess he wants to dance with you soon. So he chose This Little Light of Mine, my version. And so I want you to let that joy bubble up, all the good intentions and expectations of coming together. And I want to say, though, and to take all the love and the joy we felt here on this virtual platform, because I think joy is joy, whether we're together or not. But at least you get to hug each other. So on that note, are we ready?
We are ready.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Again, letting that joy bubble up, excitement of getting together again. All right, you know this song, This Little Light of Mine. Shine, shine. This little light of mine. What are we doing? I'm gonna let it shine, yeah. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Oh, let it, like this. Shine, shine, everybody sing it. Shine, shine, you know you want to. Shine, shine, hey, all around the world. Shine, shine, yeah. Everywhere I go, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, oh, let it, come on guys, shine, shine, everybody sing it, shine, shine, you know you want to, shine, shine, all around the world, shine, shine, follow after me, when there's light in the soul, when there's light in the soul, there is beauty in the person, there is beauty in the person, when there's beauty in the person, when there's beauty in the person, there is harmony in the home, there is harmony in the home, oh, when there's harmony in the home, when there's harmony in the home, there is order in the nation, honor in the nation, when there's order in the nation, there is peace in the world, no more living in fear, we're gonna let it shine, we're gonna let it shine, yes, no more living in fear, we're gonna let it shine, we're gonna let it shine, 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 no more living in fear, no way, said we're gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, no, let it, come on everybody, shine, shine, everybody sing, shine, shine, you know you want to, shine, shine, hey, all around the world, shine, shine, all my brothers and sisters, yes, shine, shine, shine your light through the world, shine, shine, oh, be bright, be bold, shine, shine, hey, you know you want to, shine, shine, come on and shine your light, unity of Seacoast, shine your light for the world, oh, be bright, be bold, shine, shine, oh, you know you want to, shine, shine your light, yeah, thank you so much, thank you for joining us, thank you, Unity of the Seacoast, love and aloha till next time.